Hello and good morning, everybody. My name is Amin Hadian. I am Global Business Development Manager of the company Danfoss Fire Safety. Just about myself, I am 48 years old, have studied civil engineering with a master's degree in the industrial fire protection, and have been working in different countries and different companies since more than 20 years. Today, I would like to show you a presentation about the application of high pressure water mist systems, especially in the data centers. In this presentation, I try to show you the advantages of high pressure water mist, especially for these high sensitive areas. And I hope you enjoy it. And thank you very much for your attention.
I just want to start my presentation with two slides which we had received from the Optimum Institute. They had carried out a survey and asked people about the major causes of an outage in a data center. As you can see here, the power cutoff is one of the major sources of the outage. Then the cooling, also beside networking and then software and IT systems. But regarding these two things, the power and the cooling, I can tell you that the systems of high pressure water mist, what Danfoss is offering, they can run during the electricity is there and the ventilation is there, which is very important for survival of a data center. Then we have the fire as a source of the outage, which is 0%. It shows that in none of those surveyed data centers, fire was existing, but the fire suppression. This means that, for example, if your fire extinguishing system is not reliable enough, has malfunction, has failure discharge, you will have a lot of problems with shutdowns, with evacuating of the people, and cleaning up the system or the areas after the system has discharged. With all those things, we have no problem because our system has got different types of safety in order to avoid such things. And when we talk about the outage, so we talk right away about the costs, about the money loss, and you can see here we have divided the generated or cost into three levels: under 100,000, between 100,000 and 1 million, and above 1 million. And so within 2 years, you can see that the lower damage or costs below 100,000, they have been reduced, but still a major problem. And interesting is all those cost levels between 100,000 to 1 million, which has been increased from last year to this year. And this shows that we still have to work on the safety side and partly or partial wise, and also on the security side. And the cost above 1 million, as you can see, also in this year, we had an increase in the outages and costs which have been caused through these outages. There are for sure different types of fire extinguishing systems on the market, but not every fire extinguishing system is suitable for every type of fire. This matrix should show you that, yeah, with having all those different types of extinguishing systems like water mist, sprinkler, foam, and gas, we can only have a limited protection of our risks. With a complex building like a data center is, you have to check which type of fire extinguishing agent is suitable for most of those risks. And you can see it very clearly in this picture that with some small limitations like metal fire, we can cover with the high pressure water mist up to all possible risks in a building. And when we talk about the fire extinguishing systems, especially for the data centers, we can count currently 4 different types of selected systems. The traditional sprinkler, which is wanted for many of our American customers, the gas extinguishing systems, and for sure low and high pressure water mist. And we want to talk about high pressure water mist today. And the high pressure or low pressure, they have very clear definitions according to international standards. Any kind of pressure up to 12.1 bar is called low pressure. Between 12.1 to 34.5 bar, we talk about the medium pressure, and anything above 34.5 bar is the high pressure. And we work as a system pressure at 120 bar inside the system. And the more you put the water under pressure, the smaller the sizes of the droplets become. So a typical sprinkler droplet size is between 1 to 1.2 millimeter. Low pressure water mist droplet has a diameter of 0.2 to 0.7 millimeter, and high pressure water mist has got a 0.04 to 0.1 millimeter a droplet diameter size. So you see, the higher the pressure, the smaller the droplet size. After we have generated these little water mist droplets, we want to gain two major advantages. The first major advantage is that when these little droplets come to the fire source, they vaporize very fast. They go from water to steam condition. And by doing this, they enlarge their volumes up to 1,700 times more, and they displace the oxygen around the fire. With other words, they suffocate the fire. The other advantage is that the water mist droplets, which are very light and very small, they come to the fire source, and when they go from water to steam, they take away the heat energy of the fire enormously. So they reduce the temperature level at the fire source very fast and very rapid. So in this case, if we look at the fire triangle on the right hand, we fight the fire on the oxygen side and on the heat side. So with taking away two sides of the triangle, you extinguish the fire clearly. Coming to a typical data center building, we could have different types of areas with fire rates. So your data center doesn't necessarily need to be exactly identical to this picture, but we want to show that if you have a complex building with different types of areas like transformer areas, white spaces, generator rooms, floors, auditoriums, offices, and so on, we can protect all these areas with only one single high pressure water mist pump system. So different types of risks can be connected to only one source. So you don't need to use different types of fire extinguishing systems in our design. And when you look at the side view of a data hall, you might have cable floors or false floors, or you might have false ceiling. Both of these areas can be covered by our system as well. And when we talk about only one pump system for covering of all those areas, one might ask himself about what dimensions do we talk. As you can see here, there is a high pressure pump system consisting of three high pressure pumps, a control cabinet, and a water break tank. This was sufficient to protect a building, as an example, a data center building of 107 meters in length, 58 meters by width, and 24 meters by height, a total covered area of 6,400 square meters over two floors. We protected different areas like data halls, corridors, transformer areas, generator spaces, battery rooms, and so on. And in total, we had 17 zones, which we protected with our section valves, and a total number of nozzles of 826 pieces, means that 6,400 square meters covered only with 826 nozzles. If you compare this system with a typical standard sprinkler system, you will need by far more nozzles in order to protect the same area. And as I said, the high pressure pump set is unique on the one side, and on the other side, we have different designs which we use more or less similar in a sprinkler technology. For example, for office areas and corridors, we use a wet pipe system, means that the water from pump up to nozzle is inside the pipes, And then we have sensitive areas like data halls, white spaces, and so on, where we don't want to have unwantedly water inside the room. We design pre-action systems in different types. And we have also machinery spaces where we have, for example, generators or transformers. There we use total flooding system, means water is up to the selector valves related to that zone, and between the selector valve and the nozzle, the pipe is empty and the system is activated by means of fire detection system inside the room. So we manufacture all our needed components ourselves. So it is all from one hand. We can provide pump units in different options and variations. We have different types of nozzle heads for different risks. And for sure, we have also different types of zone valves, section valves, dependent on the design and what is needed. According to the FM approval test, we have selected glass bulb nozzles for the data hall area and also for below floor, means then where the cable racks or cable trays are. We have approved two different temperature levels, and we are the only one who had approved that. This gives a good flexibility to the designer of the ventilation of the room, because if you have only one release temperature approved, then you can only install that level, for example 57, and the ambient temperature according to the fire protection standards must be minimum 30 degrees below that. Having said it, with a 57-degree glass bulb, you have to stay always below 27. But if you have also the 68 degrees, you can a little bit warm up the ambient temperature of the room to 38, which saves a lot of cooling energy and the total running costs of your building. And for the machinery spaces, we have two different types of nozzles. These have no glass bulb. They will be open all the time. One is for areas up to 8 meters height and the other one up to 6 meters height. And we use them as a total flooding system, means that the pipe behind them is empty up to the selector valve, and the detection system inside the room just gives the open signal to the selector valve and the water comes inside the room. And this is normally used in transformer areas, generator areas, where you have to fight the fire very fast. And our high pressure pumps, they are 100% made of stainless steel. It is our own product. They are multi-axial piston pumps, use only water as lubricant, so there is no need for having any oils inside that. And it's, if you want a self maintaining device, they can provide up to 160 bar, and each pump supplies 112 liter per minute. These high pressure water mist systems for data centers, they have to have related approvals. Our systems have achieved to the FM approvals class 5560 for the data centers. We have also additional FM approvals for the corridors and office areas, also approvals for the machinery spaces. So we can design a complete data center building based on FM approval guides. At this stage, I would like to make a very rough comparison between the extinguishing agents in order to see what advantages and disadvantages different types of extinguishing systems have. The next two slides will just cover this topic. When we compare our system, high pressure water mist, to a gas system, for sure we will have specific advantages that I will just very roughly go through it. The text is too much, I know, but just listen to what I explain, and then later on you can read also in details the text. When you design a gas extinguishing system, you have to design a gas tight system, means that you have to close up all those openings inside the room in order to keep the gas concentration inside the room. With our system, you don't need that. Then you need to design enough openings in order to balance the pressure once the system, the gas system, has extinguished and overpressurized the room. We don't need all those things, so you can keep the doors open. We don't overpressurize the room. So the design and construction of all those pressure release dampers inside those buildings, this is also an architectural impact that we don't need to be faced with. Then you have in some cases to shut down the ventilation when the gas system is released inside those rooms. With our systems, you don't need to do that because our systems are all checked and approved with the ventilation running. Then you have also to bear in mind that you will need a lot of storage places for all those cylinders of gas, which are not necessary in our system, because as you saw, our dimensions of the pump system is very, very small. And so you have all those things, and the cost of refilling, which is also one of the major disadvantages of the gas extinguishing systems compared to our high pressure water mist. To continue this comparison with the sprinkler systems and low pressure water mist systems, one of the major difference between sprinkler systems and our high pressure water mist is the amount of water that both systems use. We need about 5 to 6 times less water for the protection of the same fire compared to the sprinkler system. And we have a very small footprint of our systems compared to the sprinkler system when you just compare the pump sizes and dimensions and also the pipe sizes. Another disadvantage of the sprinkler system is the corrosion danger of the pipes. We use stainless steel pipes, so that's why we don't need to be worried about that. Then when you use, or when you have to provide a bigger amount of water, you have to storage this water somewhere. So you need also a bigger water tanks and water reserves that we don't need. So you will be also smaller on the side of the construction. About the water mist, the advantage for sure is water mist, the same advantages like the high pressure water mist, but again in the low pressure you need more amount of water compared to the high pressure, so you will have to calculate much more water reserve. And the pipe systems that they use, the material is also corrodable, and this is something that you will be forced to pay attention to. Okay, just to compare a gas extinguishing system and a high pressure water mist in terms of cost, I just have prepared this slide. You can see on the X axis, you see the protected volumes. The bigger you become with the volume, the more cylinders you need and the higher the price will be. Whereas with the high pressure water mist, we will always have the initial costs of the pump, because if you have one room, or doesn't matter if you have 10 rooms or a big building, you have to invest in the pump system. But the bigger the volume becomes, the only things that you need to add some nozzles and some pipes. And then we wanted to see at what time or at what stage the costs are comparable. So you can say, okay, it makes sense to use high pressure water mist instead of gas extinguishing system. And we calculated and compared the systems with each other. We came to the conclusion that from a volume of 2000 cubic meters, means an area of 400 square meters multiplied by 5 meter height in the room, you can calculate with the high pressure water mist, and it makes sense to use high pressure water mist system. So, and you can imagine yourself how fast you can reach the 400 square meters to protect in a building. So you can add all those rooms, not only the white space areas, you can add all the floor areas, the office areas, car parks, whatever you need to protect as area, you can add to this value. And then you can see, it makes sense to use the high pressure water mist systems instead of a combination of gas to whatever you would like to, or only gas extinguishing system. And in the end, just to sum up the major advantages of our system, on the one hand, you can keep your data center running without shutting down the ventilation, without shutting down the electricity. It is harmless to people inside those rooms, so people can access the room even during the extinguishing system. You can keep the doors open while we are extinguishing, and no need to design or use any fire dampers or pressure release dampers in your area. And this is a plug and play system. And finally, a clear message to those people who just compare the prices of two different extinguishing systems with each other. I just want to say that the quoted price is not comprising all of your costs and is not covering all your risks. The total cost of an ownership comprises always, on the one hand, the total investment, this is the material, supply and installation and handover, and the other part is the operational expenses, the periodical costs that you will have. Just compared to the gas extinguishing system, you have to refill the cylinders after a certain time. You have to allocate those cylinders somewhere as main system and reserve system. You have to have the cost for the repairs and so on, the inspection costs, the maintenance costs, and you will have the risk of the unwanted discharge that the complete system is emptied and you have to refill that by any time. We had a case that a project, they just wanted to substitute the gas extinguishing system because of these malfunctions and failure discharges, and they had enormous costs within 1 year, up to 160,000 euro, and they just want to avoid that. With our system, you don't have this cost, and you don't need to be worried about the image loss in terms of reading any news that there was an outage in your data center due to the malfunction of the fire extinguishing system. And before I finish my today's presentation, I just want to make a very short notice about the Danfoss fire safety. Our company is a 100% daughter company of the Danfoss Group. Danfoss Group is one of the world's largest industrial solution suppliers in cooling, heating, power generation, hydraulics, and we have been formerly called Danfoss Semco. Semco was the original owner of this company, and 2 years ago, Danfoss has bought all remaining shares, and now we belong to company Danfoss. And we are specialized in the high pressure water mist for land-based and also marine application, and working in this business since more than 50 years. And my last slide for all those consultants and listeners who are active also in other building types and not only the data centers. As you can see, we are involved in a great number of different building types and industrial plants. So please feel free to give us a call or to contact us if you need any consultancy in terms of fire protection of any building type. It would be our pleasure to be part of your consideration. And with this, I wanted to thank you for your time and listening to my presentation. I wish you a good day.